Hello and welcome to episode 245 of the Daily Sales Message, where every single day I share a piece of simple and actionable advice that's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff. In today's episode, we're talking about persistence, but persistence without pressure. There's nothing wrong with being persistent and following people up and persisting after opportunities, as long as you're looking out for the right signs. There's all sorts of buy signals and things to look for, and we cover those in other episodes of the Daily Sales Message. But persisting is important. What you mustn't do is pressure people. So this is where aggression and things like that come into play. And people, I actually had one person on a DM say to me, very rude, and they said, James, you haven't responded to any of my messages. You could at least owe me the decency of a response. I was thinking, I actually don't. I don't consider myself to be a rude person, but my behavior is my response. If you've messaged me, and I didn't ask you to message me, by the way, if you've messaged me and I haven't responded to you, then it's kind of the response, isn't it? If you can't see that and take that on board, you're getting upset by that, that's kind of your deal, isn't it? That's your problem. So it's possible to persist with people, but it's the pressure that makes the difference. So the purpose of today's episode is just to warn you about that. And the pressure comes in when we're pretty much talking about obligation. We start to throw in time frames and things like that. So get back to me by this time, blah, blah, blah. Or why haven't you got back to me? Did you get my message? Blah, all this kind of nonsense. If you make your recipient of your message feel in any way obligated or under any kind of pressure to respond to you, from experience, it's not going to work. And you know it's true, because think about you when you've had messages from people and they've put pressure on you, and time pressure and all this kind of stuff, or obligation. Do you feel great about that or not so great about that? You tell me. But for most people, they feel not so great about that. So the trick with following people up, maintaining contact with people, is to be persistent but do without pressure. And we replace pressure simply with creativity. We're looking for excuses and ways to interact with these people, but we must always lead with value and leave them better than when we found them. Following people up with a question mark, or James question mark, or oh, you're rude, you haven't come back to me, or any of this kind of stuff, and particularly if there's any pressure or time pressure or obligation in there, it's just not going to work. Right, that's it for today's telling off episode. Another telling off episode of the Daily Sales Message. Tomorrow, episode 246, we're going to be talking about something that drives conversion. It's something that people find really hard to do. I find it hard to do. Sometimes I get into a little streak where I can do it and I'm okay with it. But most of the time I find it challenging. Lots of people do. But the fact is, this is what helps you to sell more stuff. So we'll cover that in tomorrow's episode. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please hop on over to sellingconfidencescore.com. That's sellingconfidencescore.com. There is a 20-question yes/no quiz where you can answer questions related to your sales performance, and it will give you a free actionable action plan that is tailored precisely to how well or how not so well maybe you did on that scorecard, and it will help you to improve your sales and selling performance and your confidence too. So that's sellingconfidencescore.com. Thank you for listening or watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it. I'll catch you tomorrow for another, hopefully not telling off edition of the Daily Sales Message.